USG Boral Level 4 Finishing System. 5 essential things you need to know about jointing and finishing of plasterboard wall and ceiling systems to achieve a high level of finish ready for painting or decorating. USG Boral offers jointing systems using professional or all-purpose method to achieve a Level 4 finish. USG Boral recommends the use of the 3-coat jointing system using paper tape to achieve the best joint strength. Paper tape must be used with air drying type joint compound. Mesh tape may be used with powder setting type compound. Essential 1. Mixing of compounds. When mixing powder compounds, always use clean containers, tools, and cold potable water. Slowly add the powder to the water. Mix until you achieve a smooth, workable paste and only the amount that you need to use. Air drying ready mix compounds may appear thick in the pail. Before adding water, lightly mix and test its application. If required, add some water to achieve the desired consistency. Essential 2. Jointing tapes. Jointing tapes such as paper tape or mesh tape are used to reinforce plasterboard joints and angles. Paper tape is recommended by USG Boral. Its high strength and suitability for all jointing compounds and applications is ideal for gypsum wall and ceiling lining. Paper tape must be used with air drying type ready mix joint compound. As the two sides of paper tape are not identical, the outside of the roll should always be applied to the wet plaster compound to ensure the best adhesion. Essential 3. Recessed and tapered edge joints. Using a 150 mm broad knife, fill tapered edge joint with a layer of joint compound. Center and press the paper tape into the base compound using a 150 mm broad knife, drawing along the joint with sufficient pressure to remove excess compound. After embedding the tape, fill the joint with a skim coat of compound. Allow to dry. Spot fastener heads. Ensure all air bubbles have been expelled. Make sure that sufficient compound is left under the tape to create a strong bond. If using mesh tape, stick the mesh tape along the joints and fill joint with a layer of joint compound. Apply a second coat of joint compound approximately 200 mm wide using a trowel or broad knife. Feather joint edges. Spot fastener heads again. Allow to dry. Lightly scrape to remove any minor surface imperfections before applying the finishing coat at approximately 250 mm wide. When dry, lightly sand to smooth finish with 150 to 220 grit sandpaper. Essential 3A. Butt and square edge joints. Butt and square edge joints should be flush jointed and finished with a 3-coat system as per recessed joints. Widen each jointing coat so that the final coat of the finished joint is about 500 mm wide. Essential 4. Internal corners. Internal corners should be jointed with a 2-coat system using paper tape. Gaps in excess of 4 mm should be pre-filled with compound. Using a 75 mm broad knife or corner tool, apply compound to both sides of the internal corner. Measure and cut reinforcing tape. Fold along the center line and bed into the corner using the broad knife. Apply a skim coat of compound over the tape. Apply a second coat of compound with the broad knife after the first coat dried. Finish by feathering beyond the edges of the first coat. When thoroughly dry, lightly sand to a smooth finish with 150 to 220 grit sandpaper. Essential 4A. External corners. External corners should be strengthened with perforated metal angles, then jointed and finished with a 3-coat system. Suitable metal angles include rondo corner beads P01 or P32. Alternatively, plastic angle or paper metal flex tape can be used. Cut metal or plastic angle to length and position straight and in line with the wall surfaces. Ensure that there is a 10 mm gap left at the concrete floor. Fix with screws or staples at maximum 300 mm centers along each face with nails opposite each other. Ensure that the first coat of compound covers approximately 150 mm of angle faces and is forced through the perforations. After drying, the second coat should extend approximately 200 mm from the corner. Lightly scrape back the surface before applying the finishing coat to approximately 280 mm from the corner, with the edges feathered out. When dry, lightly sand to a smooth finish with 150 to 220 grit sandpaper. Other beads and angles, such as shadow line or stopping angle, should be finished in the same manner. Essential 5. Screws and fastener heads. To conceal screws or fasteners, apply a minimum of 2 coats of jointing compound over the screw or fastener head. Lightly sand to smooth out any minor surface imperfections. And these are the 5 essential things you need to know about jointing and finishing to achieve a high level 4 finish, ready for painting or decorating. Now, let us share with you the additional part of jointing and finishing installation: mechanical jointing tools. Ready-mix jointing compounds is recommended for use in mechanical joint tools such as a banjo box. Load the paper tape and pour the compound into the banjo box. Adjust the control knob to ensure that at least 1 mm of compound is under the paper tape. Apply the paper tape onto the joints, ensuring sufficient compound is under the tape. Cut the tape using a broad knife at the end of the joint. Immediately apply a skim coat over the tape to bed in the tape. For the second and finishing coats, apply as per tapered or square edge joint application. Finally, jointing and finishing for level 5 finish. Level 5 finish is recommended where surfaces are exposed to critical lighting or when decorated with dark tone or high sheen paints. Ensure all plasterboard walls and ceilings have been finished to level 4 finish before applying a skim coat over the entire surface. Prime the surface before painting. For a professional jointing and finishing installation, follow these 5 essentials and you'll never go wrong. Why choose USG Boral Joint Compounds? Choose USG Boral Joint Compounds to achieve a high level of finish, providing excellent joint strength, low shrinkage, and high coverage. This jointing and finishing installation is professionally brought to you by USG Boral.